Hey, what's up, guys? Um, I'd like to thank all the new faces I have, up to 70 subscribers now, so I'm pretty excited about that. Word's kind of getting out a little bit that I can kind of help people with their anxiety and panic disorders and whatnot. It's not only in the forums now. I'm starting to get a little bit more of a YouTube following, so I just want to thank you guys for that. But today I want to talk about like living with anxiety and living with panic attacks, living with depression and some of the things that we can do in order to lead better lives. Like I said, I mean, I've advocated since day one about learning your enemy, like learning how to, I guess, live day to day the best you possibly can while having anxiety and panic disorder. It can be quite taxing on the mind and the body, and it limits you from doing so many different things. And I guess I'm going to start off with a question. It's like, what is anxiety, panic, and depression limiting you from doing day to day? What are you not doing because of this? Or what are you blaming anxiety for? And why are you not doing things because of it? And basically, I guess my first thing I want to talk about is how accomplishment is, I guess, for lack of a better term, the arch nemesis of anxiety. Because one of the things that anxiety, limits us from doing is really accomplishing things. I mean, we stay at the house. I mean, we don't want to go to parties and we don't want to go to work and we don't want to, literally, we don't want to do shit because you feel like hell all the time for the most part. Um, I mean, some cases where you have less than severe anxiety or just a little bit of anxiety here and there, maybe it doesn't limit you as much. Maybe it's not as like I said, I guess taxing on you as a person or an individual or your family. But yes, accomplishment is one of the biggest enemies of anxiety. And you want to know why? Because the fear consistently keeps you down. Being afraid of things and being depressed and all these things. I mean, the accomplishment is just not there. I mean, you're really not accomplishing much every day because I mean, you're living in fear. You're frozen in fear. You're consistently body checking, checking your symptoms, running off to the ER, running to doctors, making phone calls to friends and family, trying and seeking all that reassurance on a day-to-day basis. So I guess the lesson today is going to, I don't know, like having small goals. When I was at the peak, or I'm not even gonna say the peak, when I was at my absolute worst, I mean, I wasn't accomplishing anything besides Googling symptoms every day and I guess learning what symptoms to look out for 400 different terminal illnesses or, whatever it may have been at the time. And, a lot of people ask me, it's like, how did I get past having the panic attacks? And how did I get past the depression? I mean, granted, the anxiety still lingers. Because, I mean, anxiety, you know, as horrible as it is, and at that level, at such a severe level, I mean, it is very, very tough to deal with. But, I mean, what you need, you need a little bit of anxiety in your life. I mean, sometimes that gets you motivated. And, for some people, they have a healthy dose. For others, especially I'm assuming why you're watching this video right now, you don't have healthy levels of anxiety. So, really, like I said, let's get back to the goals. Start your day off with small goals. Just little things like you want to accomplish getting the laundry done or, going to the store, just little things. And I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you have anxiety and panic disorder, I mean, those really are big accomplishments. And the problem that a lot of us have is we look back at our life prior to anxiety and you try to compare it to now, and of course you're going to let yourself down. I mean, you're going to let yourself down. I mean, you're looking at a person, whether it was 6 months ago or a year ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that was, in your mind, you were fun loving and you loved life every single day and everything was great and, you had no fears of things. Well, that isn't really the reality at this stage. I mean, you can get back there, but it's going to take time. So, talking goals. Sorry, I'm kind of getting off subject and going off my own direction as I do constantly. If you've seen my other videos, like I said, I don't do any editing. I want this shit raw, uncut, and right to you. I mean, I don't see the point in editing because, I mean, maybe you'll see a little bit of my anxiety, which is fine. I have no problem with that. So, first, like I said, making small goals. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware what SMART goals are, but they're specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, and timely. You can Google that. Instead of Googling cancer, Google what a SMART goal is. And it'll give you like a step by step of exactly what a SMART goal is and why, if you follow, the SMART sectors of SMART goals, why you will be, 90% more likely to accomplish what you're looking to do. Um, I say like building up to your goal. First off, whatever your goal may be, I mean, maybe your goal is to go to the grocery store by yourself, or to, I don't know, maybe even do a little exercise, do something around the house, cleaning, even getting out of bed. I mean, that can be tough. I mean, like I said, I don't know you yet, so I don't know what challenges you deal with on a day-to-day basis. So, like I say, building up to the goal, like taking small baby steps. And I mean, there's really absolutely nothing wrong with that because, I mean, if you think about like some of the greatest runners in the world, I mean, do you think that they were doing Ironmans and triathlons and 5Ks and all that kind of stuff like right from rip? Absolutely not. It was something that they practiced and they got good at over time. So being in the predicament that you're in now, where you're limiting yourself of what you do on a day-to-day basis, why not take baby steps? And that's where like the measurable part comes in, where it's like, you know, you want to measure like what is your ultimate goal. Like say you want to get to the point where you can walk 3 miles. Something that, maybe the doctors told you that you should do, or maybe you just know overall just to be a healthier person would probably be a good idea. So, you got to measure it. Like today I'm going to walk around the block 3 times. Or, in a week from now, I want to be able to run around the block 3 times from now. Like I said, make sure you're very clear and candid with yourself of what you're looking to do, what you want. And like I said, you go in small steps, small incremental steps, and you must celebrate these. I mean, being in the position that you're in now, I mean, a lot of the times you're really doing nothing besides living in fear every day. And that's counterproductive, kind of feeding the fear, making it worse every day. You know what I mean? Because like I said, we've talked in previous videos, whatever you practice, you're going to get good at. So, I mean, if you're at home every day, living with agoraphobia, laying in bed or whatever you're doing, you are practicing something. It's becoming your ritual. So I say today we start a new ritual, and you figure out these goals that you want. Like I said, I hope you're continuing to journal, because like I said, that is a major key factor in recovery. Like I said, I mean, if you don't write something down, the likelihood that you're going to remember any of it or it's going to stick is little to none. So, like I say, you got to celebrate the small victories, but have small controlled exposures. Like I mean, it's like if you're afraid of the heat, if you're afraid of exercising, do little bits at a time. I mean, what is that really going to hurt? You know what I mean? It's like right now, I mean, you're living from the grave backwards if you think about it, because I mean, you're already assuming that you're going to die or something catastrophic is going to happen to you. So what's the worst that's going to happen? You go for, a mile walk and you get anxious. Well, and it's better than sitting on the couch and feeling anxious, or laying in bed all day and feeling anxious. I mean, try to accomplish something. At least one thing every day. Doesn't matter how small it is, but it's like if you write that down and you accomplish it, that's something you can cross off for the day. You accomplished something. I don't care what it is. Be proud of that. I mean, it's a big deal, And these small controlled exposures. I mean, what I used to do is I would be kind of nervous to either go to a party or do just something social with friends, like something that I used to just take for granted and go out and have fun all the time. And what I started to do is, I had my journal, I was writing in it every night, and I was doing all these different things. So I started exposing myself to a lot of the things that I would write down in my journal that I was becoming afraid of and more fearful of, and what I thought might happen, and all this kind of crazy shit. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, this is just an exercise that you're going to need to follow for, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, 6 months, a year. I mean, who knows? But if it continues to work, don't lose your fundamentals. Like this, the journal is a fundamental. If you're not following the fundamentals, you're not moving forward. So basically, put yourself in a predicament that you do not like to be in, one that scares the crap out of you. Just do whatever it is that's making you nervous, making you fearful, something that you've been putting off, and then journal it. You know what I mean? Journal what actually happened after the fact. You haven't been out to eat in a year? Go out to eat. Go for a drive. You know what I mean? You haven't been driving in a year? Go out for a drive. You know what I mean? I don't recommend doing it in rush hour traffic. Don't hit the freeway your first time. You know what I mean? Maybe early morning or late evening. Sometime when it's just gonna be slightly less crowded and busy, so you can do your exercise a little bit more comfortably. Um, but first, when you get home, write down what actually happened. From A to Z, what exactly happened. It's like, I got in the car, I was really nervous, I was scared, I was afraid I might, like, drive into somebody, or I'd get into an accident, or I would have a panic, right in the middle of driving. Write that all out, get it all out of your system, let it all go. Everything that happened. All the way up to when you got back home and you took your seatbelt off and you went right back into the house and you started to pick up that pen to journal. And then after the fact, I want you to write down what you thought was going to happen. What was the scary thing? What you feared would happen while you were out driving, while you went out to eat. Write that down. Write down what you thought was going to happen. You know what I mean? For instance, when I would do this, I would come home and I'd be like, oh, I actually kind of had a good time. I was nervous, but, everything was fine. And, I actually had good conversation. I was really glad that I did it. And then when I would get to the portion of what I thought would happen, I would have myself almost kind of giggling at times because I'd be like, oh, I was afraid I was going to have a heart attack. And I was afraid I was going to go nuts in front of everybody and freak out. But that never happened. And like I said, I've covered this in previous videos. It's like, take it for what it is. What actually happened. Stop living this story. Stop living the story that this huge catastrophic thing actually happened when it didn't. It was just fear. That's all it was. It was what you conjured up in your mind. Steven Spielberg, that guy's a sick fuck. If you ever watched a lot of his movies, some of them are scary as shit and some of his ideas are weird as hell. We are really not much different because, you're creating horror movies and horror novels every day of what you think might happen. And this is the same thing for Mr. Spielberg. He's thinking to himself, what would completely scare the living shit out of me? A 6-foot clown, alien, whatever, coming out of a sewer thing and killing my whole family and friends. You know what I mean? What you're doing is, I'm going to go to a restaurant, I'm going to freak out in front of everybody, and they're going to laugh, and no one's going to help me, and I might die, and I might pass out, and everyone's going to think I'm silly and crazy, and, you know what I mean? Try this. Try going out, doing something that you're afraid to do, something that you're a little nervous to do. Come home, write down what really happened. What really happened to you. I'm almost guaranteeing you 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times, nothing happened. Nothing that you expected to go wrong went wrong. And like I said, when you follow up with what you feared, check it off. Did you have a heart attack? Nope. Did you pass out? Nope. Did you go crazy? No. Did anybody laugh at you? Didn't happen. See where I'm going with this? One of the greatest exercises I ever did for myself, one that I created on my own, is I wrote down the 10 most, traumatic panic experiences that I ever had. Ones that were so, I don't know, just, they were still fresh in my mind, even though it's like I'd had panic disorder for 7 years at the time, And I wrote down all 10 of them, like the worst ones that I could think of. And I wrote down what I thought was happening, what I thought was going to happen to me, and how terrified I was. And then I just took a little marker, and then I checked off all the ones that didn't happen. And you want to know what? Every single one of them ended up checked off. Nothing happened to me. Nothing at all, besides I scared the shit out of myself, which we do on a day-to-day basis anyways. So challenge yourself. Accomplishment. Accomplishment is the arch enemy of anxiety. Trust me. I hope you follow through with this. Again, hit me up on Facebook. Search Power of Self. Like the page. You'll see many more videos on there. Obviously, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share. Please share the videos. Like I said, if anybody you know needs any kind of help or needs an extra opinion, I've never said that I'm an expert, but I've lived this shit for a long time, and like I said, I feel like I know it really well. So like I said, I mean, feel free to PM me, shoot me a message, like me on Facebook, share the videos, and like I said, hopefully I'll be rolling out another video real soon. All right, thanks for watching.